Hey, to the foodies. Today we'll be talking about Ethiopian food, and I'm excited to talk. We found a place in Alpharetta, Georgia called Ethiopiques Cafe. This place is bringing authentic Ethiopian foods to the Alpharetta area, and I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited to see Ethiopian food that's not in Atlanta. So yeah, we were excited to go to Ethiopiques Cafe and meet with the owners and hear their story about why they started this restaurant, what the food's about, and of course try the food. So you're gonna come along with me on the journey, and we're gonna break this down. First off, by meeting the owner, finding out about the restaurant, trying the appetizers, trying the entrees, trying the coffee. I mean, the coffee here is insane, actually. That means plug there. You want to stick around at the end for the coffee ceremony that they do. It's just crazy coffee. I love the coffee here. It's actually seasoned almost like a chai tea, but anyways, we'll get to that. And so, here we go.
Hello, my name is Brooke, and I want to introduce you to Ethiopiques. I'm one of the partners here at Ethiopiques Cafe and Restaurant. So Ethiopiques is a representation of our culture, our food, our music from each of the partners. You know, we were all raised there, and it's been a dream of ours, all our dreams, to open something like this. And it came through in 2020, about 3 years ago. Ethiopiques means from Ethiopia. It's also like a name of a famous album back in the 60s and the 70s. That album is a jazz theme album. That's why I kind of mentioned music. And we have live music Saturdays and Fridays. We do have a little bit of the culture along with the food. We have the coffee ceremony that we do every Sunday.
In Ethiopian food, you have to imagine it almost like an Indian food. Whereas in Indian food, you always have naan, you have roti, you have paratha. In Ethiopian food, you're gonna have this bread called Injera. Injera it's like a unique type of bread that's rolled up into a roll, and you just unroll it, use your hands to eat. If you're doing Ethiopian food the right way, you won't need any utensils. You can just eat it with your hands using the bread. If you run out of bread, just ask for more. They will happily give you more.
Okay, so this is the staple for all of the food that we eat, the staple bread. You just take a piece, you kind of unroll it, then you put it on top of your sauce. You can mix and match. It's actually very delicious when you mix all the sauces. And then you kind of make like a small burrito and just eat it. And then this is completely gluten-free, which we do not add any fermentation in the process. And this one here is the teff and the barley, but we don't consider it gluten-free because it's fermented. But they're both made out of teff, which is a very super powerhouse grain.
One of the things that makes Ethiopiques unique, right? We use authentic spices. We make sure that my family and our families prepare the actual berbere and the mitmita and the shiro. So what you're getting is a real thing. We import it from back home directly to make sure that we keep that authentic taste.
We went there not knowing what to expect, and we're blown away by everything on that menu. There was a lot of food that we tried. Everything was really comforting. Moving from the gluten-free, they are also extremely vegan friendly. If you don't know Ethiopians, they fast a lot. They do a lot of vegetable eating. So it's one of my favorite places to go if I want to eat a vegan dish, because they have this vegetarian platter with like over 5 different types of vegetarian dishes on it. It is so good. They explain it better than I do, so let's go to that.
This is beyainatu, which is basically a little bit of everything for vegetarian or vegan dishes. Right here is the red lentil mixer, and then the split pea, the green lentils, the shiro, which is the chickpea powder, and then the beets and potato salad, and the timatim fit, which is basically like a salad injera. It's a cold dish, these two right here. And then we have the collard greens, carrots and green beans, cabbage, carrots, and potatoes, and then this is the potatoes too. So all the red ones means they're spicy. We add a little bit of berry on it when we cook it. And all of our spices are from Ethiopia. We actually ship it all the way from Ethiopia.
And that dish was so amazing. I don't know, I mean, me and Jose love that dish so much. Like if I go there, I normally will ask for that and the Sega Wat. I mean, we'll get to Sega Wat, but I normally ask for that if I want vegetarian. It's a really, really good dish. So if you are vegetarian and you want to join us for our next event, hope to see you there. Sign up below, shameless plug. Walking into here, the first thing we tried were the appetizers. There is a lot of unique appetizers in this place. My number one appetizer here is called the Chechesba.
Have here the Chechesba. Usually this is served for breakfast in Ethiopia, but it is also eaten as a snack or appetizers as well. It's like pita bread. It's like a pita bread, Ethiopian style pita bread. We mix it with herbed butter, berbere, and other spices, and we just kind of like saute it a little bit, and that's it. And then we put the honey and the yogurt on the side. It is very delicious because it's spicy, sweet, sour, creamy, everything. It's like fun.
Chechesba was so good. I loved it. I don't even know, like I'm not a pita bread person or whatever, but it was like this bread that was cooked almost like a creamy sauce along with honey that you dip it in. I don't know. It's addictive. It really is addictive. So if you get it, you know, just get your own. You're not going to want to share it. Other than that, we also tried another appetizer called the Sambusa. Sambusa was also similar, I would say, to like an egg roll with a gravy type sauce to it. They explain it better. Let's go to them.
So this is our Sambusa, beef Sambusas here. And we have our in-house beef Sambusa that we've created ourselves. It's actually very popular here in Ethiopiques. People want it actually bottled and sold.
So this dish right here is called Kitfu, and it's basically a minced beef dish, and we kind of saute it on the stove with Ethiopian butter and Ethiopian seasonings, kind of get all the flavor in there, and then we lay it onto the injera and roll it up, so it's kind of like a decadency appetizer.
It was really delicious as well. If you go to Ethiopiques and you're not sure what to try, those two appetizers are a really good start. Now, if you get into the food, I mean, whenever I try Ethiopian food, there's two things I love. It's the Wat and the Tibs. So, first off, the Tibs. They have tibs of every sort here. If you don't know what a tib is, it's like a marinated type of chopped meat that's really popular in Ethiopian culture. So the tibs, they have lamb, they have chicken, they have beef, they have this ribeye. It's just really, really, really good. The chicken tibs were really good, but nothing beats the lamb tibs in my opinion. If you want your tibs to come a little bit seasoned, go with the awaze sauce tibs. The sauce was delicious. The food was amazing. You have to try it. Now, I never thought I would say this, but one dish that was better than the tibs was the Wat. I mean, I tried that and was like, what? I mean, it was really, really good. It was really, really good.
Okay, so this is a stew called Doro Wat, which means chicken stew. It's very traditional in Ethiopia, especially during the holidays. We always make this, But basically, when it's usually served to you, you get 2 chicken drumsticks and an egg, you know, the traditional way. And it has a very smoky bourbon flavor, but yet spicy. And the flavor definitely outpowers the spice level, in my opinion. So when I was a kid, this is definitely my favorite dish. And to this day, I have great memories of my grandma, you know, before Easter, before the New Year, in the kitchen, you can just smell it all over the house. And this would always be like the main dish, like the main course. And then, you know, everything else is just addition to it.
The Doro Wat is pretty amazing. The chicken was seasoned so well. The egg really complemented the sauce. If you get it, just chop the egg up inside the sauce, eat it with the chicken. Game over. It's just really, really good. Now, the Sega Wat comes with like chopped meat, chopped ribeye or beef. You can get it, I believe you can get it with other types of meat, but the Sega Wat we tried was amazing. That dish, I mean, I love Tibs, and this is like Tibs buried in a gravy with like a boiled egg and other seasons built in. I mean, it's just really, really good.
So this dish is called Sega Wat, which means beef stew, and it's kind of the same thing as the Doro Wat, just a change in the meat. And it also has the same smoky, flavorful taste. How it comes, it'll be, the beef is very tender and soft. So it's kind of cubed meat, kind of what you would see in the Tibs, but it's just made differently. So we kind of soak it in that red sauce before we serve it, and then we boil the egg and you kind of just add it in there, so. It's
a home cooked type of meal. You're gonna love it. You're gonna miss your mom. You're gonna miss your parents. You're gonna be like, wow, this is like, reminds me of home. It's really comforting. I mean, whenever I go back there, that's the dish I get. I love it. It's delicious. It's hard hitting. It's a little bit spicy, but not too spicy.
So I want to talk about the history of coffee in Ethiopia. Coffee is not just a drink in Ethiopia. It's a culture. It's a center of conversation. It's what families, you know, get around. It's like you know, dinner here in America where you have Thanksgiving dinner. Coffee is an everyday thing. When you come from church, you get the family sits in a table, has coffee together. There's a whole ceremony for it. We usually in Ethiopia we make coffee the traditional way, like we've been making it for hundreds and hundreds of years. What happens? You grind the coffee, put it in a pot like this right here, and you boil the clay pot. In the clay pot, you boil the coffee. When it gets to the boiling point, you let it settle, naturally settle, and you pour the coffee. The clay has a special place in the coffee ceremony because it gives it a special flavor. It's all natural, nothing, no filters, nothing is added. Coffee seeds settle on their own, and you drink the first part. That's called abol. You might notice there's a lot of Ethiopian restaurants named abol. It comes from that. It means the first. So the first drink of coffee you have, that's the strongest. That's the one that everybody wants to have. And if you're like still thirsty for coffee, because we get them in this little espresso shot size cups, you can get a second one, which is huletenga, and a third one even, which is called sostenga.
So it's good to add that the coffee here, if you come here on that Sunday, let's say you missed the coffee ceremony, but you want coffee, stop by Ethiopiques and just try their coffee. It is seasoned almost like a chai tea. There's cinnamon and spices in it. And just, I mean, without cream, I was loving it. I was just drinking it straight, drinking it black, and it was delightful. So definitely try the coffee. If you can't make the coffee ceremony, just come and ask for coffee while you're trying your Sega Wat or your Doro Wat or your Tibs. Just get coffee. I mean, I get coffee every time I'm there just because I love the coffee. So try it out. You'll love it. You'll thank me for it.
Ethiopiques is located at 11130 State Bridge Road in Johns Creek. It's right between Johns Creek and Alpharetta, close to Avalon. We're open from 11:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. from Tuesday to Thursday and Sunday, but Friday and Saturday we're open till 10.